Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome wherever and whenever you are watching. So today we are repairing a Samsung laptop. Specifically, this one is the Samsung NP754XGK. Not sure if you can just see that on camera, but that's the model that we are going to be looking at today. This is quite a common problem. What's on here? You may have guessed. It is a broken hinge. It's quite common on laptops. As you can see, just in here, all the hinges have come away from the screen section. And you can see it's not looking too healthy at all. So we'll be repairing this today. If this does happen, it can happen in a couple of ways. Generally, if you're right-handed, it will be the left-hand hinge which shows the damage, as it is on this one. And we'll just move down a little. You'll be able to see this hinge should actually be inside the screen, as it is on that side. So right-handed people generally suffer with the left hand, left-handed people generally suffer with the right-hand hinge. And this is because when you grab the lid to lift up, you're actually twisting it slightly and it's putting extra strain on that one. There are several different ways this can be repaired. The one I favour and never have an issue is the one that I'm going to be showing you today. It is the same for all laptops, as long as they have a plastic bezel around the screen. As you can see on here, there's a plastic bezel down there. If you've got an edge-to-edge glass protected screen, this one's still got a bezel around there. Unfortunately, they are significantly more difficult to do, and I wouldn't recommend attempting this repair on one of those. But on this model, this is what we are going to do. So first of all, what we've got to do is ensure that we are extremely careful that we do not actually break the LCD screen, which is on here, because these are ever so expensive and we don't want to damage that. So we're going to shut the laptop screen down carefully, spin it over and take the batteries out, and then remove the screen. So the tools we will be using today, we'll just pop that to one side. It's going to look a little bit strange compared to what we would normally use, but we'll be using our trusty iFixit screwdriver, and this is just the Phillips head. We'll also be using some type of sharp knife, craft knife or something like so, and the trusty yellow spludger there just to open the case and things like that. The list goes on. We may be using a couple of different sets of thin nose pliers, and this will become apparent during the repair. You'll see what we do with those. Some crazy glue or super glue. Again, these will come apparent. And then we'll be using a selection of different drill bits. So there's a couple of different sizes here. And this is because we'll be using nylon screws to actually fix it down. And again, there are different ways of doing this. So you can leave your preferred method in the comments. Please let me know. But this one does offer a very, very strong bond and a strong fix, instead of wanting to replace the entire case, which, if you can get one, are extraordinarily hard to get. And I've never had one of these break afterwards. It's not a pretty repair, but it is a very, very functional and strong repair to do that. So these are the type of things we'll be using today, and that's why we need the drill bit. And then the last thing what we'll be using is a big cordless drill. Again, if you haven't got one of these, you can use a hand drill. This particular model has got a metal chassis, so it's going to be a little bit tricky to use a little hand drill like so. But if you've got something what you can use to get through the metal, or if it's plastic, you can sometimes just use, this is what I tend to use if it's just a plastic shelled one. You just it's a little hand drill. You basically push it down, turn it like so with a little bit of pressure, and it will just drill a nice little hole through it. So what we will do, we'll get started by removing the bits and bobs. Again, we're going to be very careful until we've got the laptop separated, and we'll be removing the little things from the back. We just need to remove the screws. On this model, screws are hidden like they are on some laptops, just under the corner feet. We're just using a pair of tweezers here just to lift the corner feet up, but you can use something else like a screwdriver or something like that. Just be careful that you don't stab yourself. Your screws might be located in different places around the edges, under stickers and things like so. So this method does apply to probably about 95% of laptops out there. and you can do the same process with variation on either left or right hinge, or them both as well. What I would recommend, and I'll cover this later, is once you have done the repair, try and open the screen from the center. It's a lot better to just get it from there. So what we do need to do is just make a gap to get the back off. So we'll just put the little pry tool that we use just down here, and we'll just start trying to see if we can find a gap, find an opening. We've just found one there. As you can see, it's now located, and we'll just slide it across, and we can hear the little clips just release to enable us to do that. Just put a little bit of tension and pressure on there. If your case is already off, by all means skip to a later part of the video and we will do that. Because this case is proving quite tight, we'll just change to one of our other little tools, which is a little metal pry tool, just a little bit thinner, and it'll just enable us just to get between the case and the back. So we're not going to go very deep, probably only about 3 or 4 millimeters deep, and we're just going to see if we can work this off just to gain a little bit of a gap. Again, all laptops are a little bit different. Some come off a lot easier than others. I don't intend on editing this video, so what you see is how I do it, and yours may be different to how I do it, but I would rather you see that we can struggle as well, even though I do this very often. I've probably done this well over 100 times, 200 times or so. So the actual repair, opening laptops, I've done many thousands of times. But as you can see, it's not always as straightforward as some creators or YouTubers will show you. But it is. We're now into there. We can see we've got our fingers in there, so we can then start using this. Not very deep at all, just a few millimeters in, and just start putting a little bit of pressure on and working his way around. And we can see the gap is now just opening and developing. Just be a bit careful when you get to areas, if yours has got anything like an Ethernet plug on, because what you don't want to do is pull on the plug. We need to come back to the actual case. So we'll start from this side where we opened it before. A little bit in again, and working his way round. This can be quite tricky. Some laptops you might need to slide it off slightly, or you might need to do it like this, where it is just clipped all the way around. Some come off extremely easy. Some are a little bit tighter and tougher than others. All the screws are out, so we've got 90% of it now unclipped. So we just need to release this last side down here. So again, we're not going very deep with the spudge tool, and we'll start just lifting it off. And as you can see now, it's come off. It was the clips around the edge what we've been releasing, and this one's got quite a lot of clips all the way around the edge, as you can see, and do that. But just take your time, because we don't want to break anything. Okay, so as we're looking inside the laptop, some of the components, we've got the big, on this one it's grey, so it's nice and easy to highlight. This is the laptop battery. We've obviously got the fan, the heatsink, and the CPU. This is the hard drive on this one. This is an NVMe M2 drive. We've got the connector, which we'll be disconnecting for the display. We've got the cable here for the Wi-Fi, which goes to the little tiny Wi-Fi card on here. Got a separate daughter board, and then we've got several different ribbon cables doing all different things. What we will do first of all, we'll disconnect the battery. So we'll grab one of our little plastic tools. Again, please use plastic rather than metal. This particular one just literally pops up and comes out like so. So a little bit of leverage just underneath, just like that, and it's just lifted up and out, so it's nice and safe. The next thing I would say do, again, we are just going to be very careful because the hinge is broke. We're just going to press and hold the power button. On this model, it is on the side. So we'll just press and hold the power button, which is on this side here, for about 10 to 15 seconds. And this will just ensure that any remaining charge or voltage is dissipated, so the board is nice and safe. So that should be long enough. We're just going to close it back down again. And we're going to look at removing the hinges themselves. So the places where we're going to be working are these two screws here. Just see if we can zoom down to give you a little bit better viewpoint of where we're looking. We're going to be looking at these two screws here, and then there are 3 screws here. Again, yours may differ. Just look for the hinges, which are metal with the screws in, screws straight to the chassis. So we're going to start with this side. We're going to simply remove the 2 screws here. Hold the screwdriver near the bottom like I've said before, and that'll just stop it slipping out. So locate it in, fingers at the bottom like so, and then just use the screwdriver to twist it round again like so. And then we've got that going on there. Second screw, locate it in, hold it at the bottom, and we will screw out. We'll work on this side exactly the same. We'll take these 3 screws out here. That's another one to come out. And final one, we're holding at the bottom. This will just stop the screwdriver slipping about. Comes in useful when you are tightening up, just to make sure it is going in. Okay, this is the hinge which is broke, but it's broken on the screen side. So because we wish to detach the actual screen panel, we've got to now detach some of the cabling. Your cabling might be slightly different, but this one is the Wi-Fi card. So we're going to look where the cabling goes. This one goes round the fan and clips onto the little Wi-Fi card just here. These can be a little bit fragile to get on and off, so please just be careful when you are taking them off. I find the best way, just something under the brass fitting, put your finger over the top to keep it straight and just give it a little bit of a wiggle and a thing, and the cable will just come out. So we've now released both of those 2 cables away from the Wi-Fi card. We'll unravel these cables. Another top tip for you, if you are unsure where things are going to go, take a couple of pictures with your mobile phone of the insides before doing any work, and certainly areas like this, and then you can just simply look back at your photos, what you've taken, and use them as reference for when you come to put it back together. So the other thing which is connected, this is the display or EDP. So it'll say EDP on the circuit board just there, held down with a little sticker. And on this particular model, again, yours may vary. This one's got a little black plastic clip that you just lift the clip and it will release the tension on the cable, and then we can remove the cable. Yours might be a gold or brass contact, may have a little arm coming round or something like that. So just have a look, spend a couple of minutes just looking how it does disconnect, because you don't want to pull it off wrong. So this particular one, we'll just simply take it out like so, and we've now disconnected the cable. So we can just pop that to be safe. We will just double check that everything is disconnected. With this hinge being broke, you can see it's already lifted, where the hinge on the other side is still down. So we do want to free that a little bit. Again, the best way I found of doing this, because these hinges are extraordinarily stiff, is just simply open the laptop by about 1 centimetre, half an inch. Just elevate it a little bit. As you can see, I'm just elevating it. And what this does, it just lifts the hinge slightly, so you can get your finger underneath and you can just stand it up completely. This one won't move too much, so what we need to now do is actually remove the keyboard or the computer section away from the screen. We've got both hinges lifted up. We've got these lifted up. Again, yours may differ very slightly, but more often than not, it's just up, and we can then just pull the unit, walk it away like so. Maybe a bit tricky where the hinge is broke at that side, but we'll just walk it away just to see if we can get it out and do that. And as you can see, sometimes it's not easy, so we'll just work it out carefully, because we don't want to pull anything or damage anything. It is really awkward, that one. So we're now out. As you can see the hinge is completely broke away from the screen down here. So this is nice and safe. We'll put this to one side so it won't get any damage, and then we can continue working on this section. So it is this hinge that we are going to replace. We'll just take that hinge out so we can actually see what the issues are. So you can see these little brass connectors here. These actually should be mounted. There is a bit of black plastic here, if you can see. And when we take the bezel off the screen itself, you'll see where this would have gone. But these should be mounted in the black plastic, which is on the inside of the screen display panel. Screws simply then screw through this side, through the hinge, into the brass things which are located on the back of the screen, and then that'll anchor the hinge down. But again, this is a very common thing. All 3 have actually broken and snapped. So this is what we are going to be working on. We do need to disassemble the computer a little bit more. So again, we're going to be very careful and see what the issues are. We will see down here that it has caused damage already, because the customer has been using it to the actual plastic and hopefully it's not damaged any of the internal screen. This is the risk. If you do continue using it with a broken hinge, it will shatter the panel down there. So again, screens do come off slightly different for all people. I like to find it at a corner or a point and just see if we can work it up a little bit. We'll just get our little spudger tool and just see if we can find a point which isn't as glued down as the others. Maybe worth just trying down here and just sliding it along. There is always a risk with this that this screen may get damaged, so we'll be very, very careful at trying to get this out. Do please take your time on this. It's not a quick job. There's no need to rush. Just do it as quick as you need and as slow as you want. And it's just taking the time, because what we don't want to do is damage the screen. So these are glued down, sorry. So it is difficult sometimes just to get a starting point. But what you'll find is once you've got a starting point, it's just a little bit easier to do that. Avoid using IPA, which you might see on some of the other channels, mainly because if IPA gets in the layers of the screen, you will damage the screen and the appearance. It'll look like you've got water or something in it. So all I'm doing is lifting the little sticker up and then working my way around with a plastic spudger tool, which is a blunt side, just to lift it off like so. And we're just breaking the seal of the glue. So again, they're all a little bit different. Yours may have some screws in it. It may just clip straight off. Modern laptops tend to be a little bit more sleek, so they do tend to use glue more often in laptops rather than screws. But again, yours may vary. Now this is quite flexible, this one, so we may be able to just peel this off. It is a thicker plastic, but it's quite a flexible, thick plastic, and as you can see, it's now pulling away. We'll be careful around the webcam because this will have electronic components in, because it's a webcam, and we'll be careful not to bend it too much. But we do need to get it off because we need to repair the computer. So we're just working his way around the edge. This will stick back down once we've finished with it. And then we'll get everything put loosely on, just to give us an indication where we're going. We'll pop the screen over. And as we can see, we've got the 3 holes we were just discussing. We'll get the drill bit out of there and we'll pop it into the handheld drill, because it's only going through thin plastic now. And then we'll repeat the process of going through like so. One moment, please. Okay, so we have the record on here. Unfortunately, I did not press the record button on the audio, so thought I'd just do a voiceover. As you can see from the video, I'm just drilling holes in the trim cover and also cleaning any debris out of the and then just reinserting the hinge just to see if it does marry up and fit. I'm now just fitting the cover back on carefully. It is speeded up 800 times, so it does look a lot quicker, but please do take your time. Once this is fitted and stuck down, yours may differ. It may screw down or clip down. This is just an adhesive one, so this is sticking down. I reinsert the hinge and I locate the holes with the plastic nylock screws. I fix the screws from the front and the back, half tightening them just to locate them into the holes. I then locate the nuts on the back just to secure them down. The next step is completely optional. I use a little bit of super glue or crazy glue or whatever you've got to hand as a lock thread, just to hold it in tight once it is screwed down. Just placing a little bit on a piece of card and dabbing a little bit on the threads and then tightening the screws down. I do find this just helps with holding it in place. Once this is done, I snip the back of the screws off and we should be back to live audio. Thank you once again. Okay, welcome back. I do apologise for the lack of audio. Had a problem with the microphone, wasn't recording. So in essence, what we have done, as you will see from the video footage, but not the audio, that I have now speeded up in post-processing, we've put the nuts on here, a little bit of crazy glue, super glue on the thread, tightening it down, and what it's ended up doing is using the super glue, a bit like lock thread, and holding the nut in place on each one of those. So we've just repeated the process for all 3. Straight through the outer case, through the metal hinge, through the back plate, and that is now holding it in place. So the glue has now had time to set. So we'll get our flush cutters, just holding the top of the nut screw itself and just snipping all those off so they're nice and flush, and they're not going to catch on anything. As you can see, they're nice and flush on there, and the hinge is extraordinarily strong, probably stronger than when it was actually new. So that is now dried. We need to start the reassembly process of the laptop, and if you recall, we had one of these. The flat side was to the bottom, so we'll just get this and we'll start the reassembly process to get it all back together. These can be quite tricky to get on and off, certainly if one side has been damaged with a broken hinge. But again, let's just take our time and just ease it down. You may find that one of the screws may stop it going down. On this occasion it's stopping it with that little lug there. So we're just going to snip that lug off a little bit and just enable us to get over the screw like so. We're just going to make a little modification to it just there. And again, we'll offer it up. We do this in real time as such, so I'm not editing it. You're seeing warts and all. If I do it right, if I do it wrong, if we come against obstacles, you'll see it how we do it and how it, different things, how we overcome them. Because not everything is straightforward when you're working on computers, and not everything is straightforward when you're doing a repair. You can come against obstacles, and you hit new challenges. So sometimes it is a case of working through them each time. So this one looks like the clips aren't, there we go. It's a slidey one, this one. So push it down, then pushed it to the right. So it was down and then that motion, and it's now locked into place, as you can see. It is still being fouled a little bit with this screw. So we're just going to take a little bit more of that off. So we will remove it and we'll just snip that off a little bit, and then that'll give us a little bit more clearance on that side. So we just need to take it off about there and straight across just with the flush cutters. And this is just going to give us that little bit of clearance just to make it a little bit easier. So the movement was, if you recall, on this particular one, yours may vary again. We'll get it in place, we'll hold it in place and slide it to the right. It's now locked into place, and as we can see, it's now got the clearance for that screw. So it is all nicely down. We then need to start putting the laptop back together, and this is a simple process of repeating how we did it before. So what we did before, we took the screen away from the keyboard panel. So we're just going to repeat the process by doing this. So we'll get this offered up. If you remember, we did it at an angle like so. We put the hinges underneath and then we just sat it backwards until it went down on the screen. So as you will see when you do this yourself, again, your variants, yours might vary slightly from this, but they're going to be very similar. We've got one hinge at this side that we'll now just push into place. We'll just give the case a little bit of a wiggle and you'll find it'll locate into place, and we'll do the same for this one. This is the one what we've repaired obviously on the screen side. Again, we'll just lift the computer very slightly and we'll just locate that in, and as we can see, it's gone down flush now. So we'll get the screws that we took out, put 3 out on this side. You've got little arrows, if you're wondering where you took them out from and didn't take any pictures, can you just see the arrows? And those arrows point to where the screws go. So there's one screw going in that hole, one in that hole, and one in that hole, and it will be the same for this side as well. So you've got one arrow pointing there, and I suspect probably one arrow pointing just there. If we can get the camera to focus, we've got one pointing there as well. So we'll pop these screws back in where the arrows are pointing. So I'll put the first one in there. I don't put them all the way home to start with. I do leave them a bit proud, and that's just so we can just give ourselves a little bit of flexibility when we are doing this. So we've got 3 screws in there, and then we can start tightening them down nice and gently with even pressure. So what we're going to do now, we're getting down to it, we'll hold the bottom and we'll turn like we've done before to stop the screw coming out. We'll put it in the screw head again, hold it at the bottom and just turn it. We don't need to be ultra tight, hold it at the bottom, and we just need to be firm, not tight. Don't go wrenching it round, doesn't need it. Then we'll move on to the other side and we'll just repeat the process for this side. So we've got the screw on here, we'll find the hole where it should go, which is there, hold the screwdriver at the bottom and we'll put it like so. Repeat the process with another screw. Got the screw on the screwdriver, find the hole, pop it in the hole, hold the screwdriver at the bottom. There's only 2 at this side, so this one can go in all the way. And then we'll just go back to the first one, what we put in 3/4 of the way, and just tighten that down. before we put any other cable in and everything else on, we'll just check the operation of the laptop is just opening and functioning correctly and nothing is catching. So we're opening and that it's now working as it should. Again, it's not a pretty modification, but it is a very functional one. The case was damaged down here, if you recall, from when we started work on it anyway. You can see 2 screws at this side, but it is extremely strong now and it's all fixed back down. We need to repeat the process about putting the cabling down. So we'll do the Wi-Fi card first. We'll follow where the Wi-Fi card went, which was under this little tab here. If you took the photos, it's useful now just to look back at the photos and just see where the cabling went. Again, your cabling may differ from this one, but they're all similar. Now, you may struggle with getting the Wi-Fi cable back on because these can be very fiddly indeed. They're generally in 2 lengths, so you know which one goes to where. If not, again, just make a quick note of where it is. So I find the easiest one is just to use a pair of pliers or your fingers if you can. Just hold it over with the pliers, the tweezers, sorry. Hold it over the little pin and we'll pop to the microscope view and I should be able to show you a little easier on how this actually goes together, and then we can see where it actually sits on the microscope view. Just one moment. Right, if we are looking at this, this is the Wi-Fi card, what we've taken off, and we just look in the center of that. We've got a little center pin just there, you can see, and we've got an outer ring there, and that'll marry up with the center and the outer of that one. So we just need to make sure we get them lined up before pushing home too much. So this one's nearly lined up, so we'll just get the tweezers, we'll line up something close like so, and you can just use your nail, or if you've got a little spudger like I've been using, you can just use one of those, and don't force it. You will feel it when it's in the right place. When it's in the right place, it will want to clip down. So again, we'll repeat the process on here. They can be a little bit fiddly, certainly if you've got big hands like myself. We'll get it somewhere close like so. We'll just give it a push down, and those are nice and secure. If you wanted to make sure they were secure, you could also put a piece of tape over there. Okay, so we will do the ribbon cable for the monitor screen whilst we're here as well. What we took off, this is for the display, for the screen. We'll get the display cable. You can see it's quite thin and flimsy, and it's the same shape as the actual cutout there. It's got 2 little lugs on, so pop it in there. It'll go in like so. Doesn't have to come in too tight. You just need to make sure it's located correctly, and we'll see that the locating lugs at either side are nice and in. We'll pop the little grey tension bar down. There's a line on the cable which is now lining up flush, as you can see, and we'll pop the sticker over there. That's the cable there lined back up, and it's also lining up with that. So we've got the display cable back in, and we've got the Wi-Fi cable back in also. The last thing what we need to do is just plug the battery back in, which is the first thing we took out when we opened it up. So we'll just plug the battery back in. Again, this one just simply pushes down. Just make sure it's pushed down all the way, like so. We'll now test the laptop, so we'll just make sure there's no loose cables or screws or anything like such, and all the cables aren't going to trap or foul. We'll pop the laptop over, like so, and we will attempt to turn the laptop on just to make sure everything is working as it should. So we'll open the laptop from the center, holding the screen down with our thumb, and open it like so. We'll find the on and off button, which is on here. We'll turn it on, and hopefully the laptop will power up. And as we can see, we've got a nice Samsung Galaxy logo on there, so we can see that the laptop is coming on. We've got the Windows login screen. This is filmed in November, as we can see. Beautiful picture of some trees and so on. So it's nicely done. We're just going to shut the laptop down, and we can see the hinges working on there. But we'll spin this back round. We're nearly done now. We're in the home straight. Need to refix. We've got a fan spin. The computer's just shutting down. Just need to refix the top back on. So we'll make sure we've got it in the correct orientation where we took it off. Remember, this clipped on around the edges, so we just need to reclip this one down. Might be a little bit firm to clip down. They might clip, might be a bit loud, but as you can see, we're just working down gentle but firm pressure, just working around all the edges and doing that. Yours, again, may differ. So please don't think all laptops are the same. They may differ slightly, but it will be variations on a theme on that one. So don't worry too much if yours looks a little bit different. The process is the same if you wish to do this method. I've done this method and I've done it on laptops which are still operating as they should several years, 5, 6, 7 years after the repair modification, to the fact that the other hinge generally breaks before the repaired hinge will break. So we're popping these screws back in, as we can see. So all 4 are back in. It came with 4 little feet. On this one, these just push back into the holes like so. Whether yours is a HP, Lenovo, Toshiba, Samsung, Acer, Asus, unfortunately, they all suffer with the same issue. They all do go in the same manner with the hinges, because they're all designed more or less the same. So you might find this is something that you need to look at. We'll just make sure there's no gaps around the edges, make sure it is all fastened and it is all pushed down. As we can see, that's all nice and flush and no gaps. And the hinge from the bottom, you will look like so. So we will see not a pretty repair, but it is a repair, and it's a sturdy repair also. There are other YouTubers out there which will offer a different way of doing this, but this way is nice and sturdy and everything else, and it won't fail you again. So that is all of it done. This is the hinge repair on the Samsung laptop. The other repairs that people do mention on YouTube, which are the hinge repairs where they weaken the hinge or they take the tension off the hinge. Unfortunately, if you do that, you put more tension on the other hinge, so the screen will twist more and you'll cause ultimately a lot more damage to that. You've then got the problem where the screen will flex itself, and they do not like flexing, so please don't weaken one hinge without loosening the other hinge, because you'll end up with more screen flex because tension will be completely offset. And the other thing is as well, I have seen it where you get the screen to there, it's all fine, but you get the screen to there and it just flops over. There's tension on the hinges for a reason. It's because the screen needs to sit up at different angles for people. This way, it's not pretty, but it is an effective and long-lasting repair. Please let me know in the comments what you thought of the video. Please also let me know if you've got any suggestions that I could do differently or improve, or if you've got a different way of wanting to do it. Please let me know. Every day's a school day to know how to do that. So we're all good on this one. I'll be giving this a thorough test now, just to make sure everything is okay and it's all working, and we'll be letting the customer have this back. So thank you very much for viewing. Please hit the like and subscribe button. It really does mean a lot to small creators like myself. And please let us know if you've got any requests on types of videos or repairs that you would like to see, whether it's a DIY one. If you did like the video, check out my other videos, the different models. And also I do live streams with more complex repairs, circuit boards and so on in. And please join us for one of the live videos as well. It's good fun with the different repairs that we do attempt and modifications that we do. But yeah, if you've got any comments, please let us know in the thing. But make sure you hit the like and subscribe. It does mean an awful lot. And just hitting the like button doesn't cost you any money, but it just tells us we're doing a good job in there. So thanks again, guys. Catch you all soon. Take care. Bye bye now.